We've had numerous discussions on this show about the use of disturbing imagery involving children. Usually it centers on showing the true horrors of war, but more recently the question has come up in coverage of the opioid crisis, a question the Lawrence Eagle-Tribune had to wrestle with this week. For at least 10 years, the Eagle-Tribune has extensively covered the scourge of heroin and opioids on the community. But as hard-hitting as that coverage has been, it's hard to compare to this.
Oh my God.
A 2-year-old cries for her mother, who appears to have overdosed in a store. The Eagle-Tribune published this 2-minute video this week. They obscured the toddler's face and withheld the mother's name, explaining in a note to readers that this is a scene that emergency responders see every day in Lawrence.
Another police department using dramatic images to highlight an epidemic.
The harsh consequences of overdosing on opiates.
Other media outlets quickly picked up the video, prompting some complaints of victim shaming, invasion of privacy, and exploitation. Eagle-Tribune managing editor Tracy Rao tells Beat the Press that editors vigorously debated what to do with the video and says shaming had nothing to do with it. We knew it would show the real story, and this is a story that needs to be told. Still, it's tough to watch. Well, I have no issue at all with the Lawrence Eagle-Tribune. They had 30 minutes of video of that episode going down. They edited it down to a palatable 2 minutes, although even that 2 minutes was tough to watch. At that point, when we first saw this video 2 days ago, it hadn't hit the local TV screens, and I said, it'll be tonight, and of course it was, and then ABC ran it, and I don't know if I was watching ABC last night, I know that. And then it does start to feel like it's, somewhat exploitive, reaching in. But as I said, I have no problem with what they did.
Well, I disagree. I think the Eagle-Tribune, I don't doubt that they went through quite a process in deciding whether to use this or not, and that they came to the conclusion that they did for all the right reasons, but I wouldn't have run it. I think it is shaming the victim, and I don't see any reason why we should be out there holding up people to public shame. She's certainly recognizable to people who know her, and I think it was a call, difficult to make call, but ultimately the wrong call.
Well, I disagree. I think that they should have run it. I would have maybe blocked her face out because I thought it was so powerful with that. There's some things you just can't describe. You can see them and let it play out, and I thought it was used tastefully. To your point, because we're in an era of pass-around video, this thing will be exploited now because people will pass it around and some people won't be responsible. But for what they were trying to do, for what responsible news outlets were trying to do in telling this story, I don't think you could say more about it. And it turns out she had stuff in her diaper bag, at least they're telling us initially, that nobody's been to court, but that's what's been said by the officials, so we'll see.
Yeah, I tend to agree. As the video was replayed on networks, they did block out her face and didn't use her name. But given the context in which the Eagle-Tribune made that decision based on the crisis in Lawrence particularly and the coverage that they had done, it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier, that you can try to be balanced only so long and finally you've got to do something that gets people's attention. This did. The one thing, though, that I would want to make very clear if I was putting it on the air was that in fact she was lying there unconscious because of the drugs, and it wasn't that she had fainted or something like that. And I think they were pretty confident of
Making
that.
her less of a victim, in my mind.
I don't even understand what the term shaming the victim means in this context here. This is not a rape trial.
No.
To me, that's the same as saying we shouldn't show the carnage of war because it shames the victims. No. That's what this is, this opioid heroin epidemic. It's a war zone. And if, in fact, the presentation of that video shames other users with young children into reassessing what they're doing, lest they wind up sprawled on the floor with their little tot in hysterics, job well done by the newspaper.
The most disturbing thing to me about this video, no one came to her help. Nobody.
Including the person shooting the video.
Well, they called 911. I think people were reluctant to touch her. You don't know, you're just a regular person. I'm not gonna, jump up and down on them because they did call 911. So they did seek professional help.
You're right.
They would have. All right.